What's up guys, welcome back to Aquatic Elements. You'll notice behind me we've just got a few fish left in the tank, and in today's video we are going to be fully rescaping the mega tank. Now it is a sad day. I'm recording this exactly 7 days after I listed my fancy goldfish for sale, and 7 days after I sort of told you guys on YouTube that there was going to be a big rebrand on the channel. So it is a sad day because the last 4 Aranda from the what once was the goldfish mega tank are going to be going to their new homes tomorrow on a Monday. So they're going to be finding their new homes, and then it is time to rescape the mega tank. I will be releasing what fish are going to be going into this tank at the end of the video, but put some guesses down below. Let me know what you think it might be. So yeah, the last 4 Aranda, we've got Phoenix, Tiger, Rambo and Nero. All 4 of those are heading off tomorrow. I thought I would also say I have had a gift from Haiger. They've actually sent me this 800 watt LCD heater. So we've got 800 watt heater that's going to be going into the internal sump. So Haiger actually sent me that, and I'm going to be doing an unboxing video on this and a sort of little talk about this heater in a coming video. So the goldfish are going, unfortunately. The next time you see this tank, it's actually going to have no fish in it, and I'm going to be starting the process of removing everything out of the tank and getting it rescaped. So that is it for now. I will catch you guys tomorrow when the goldfish have gone. If you do want to keep up with the day-to-day runnings of the tank and aquatic elements in general, then you can head over to the Instagram, TikTok, and you can check us out on Facebook and our YouTube shorts as well. But I'm going to end this part here. These guys are going to be gone, and then we can get on with the rescaping of the aquarium. So I'm going to catch you guys tomorrow.
A few moments later.
So as you can see, there are now no fish left in the tank, and it is time to drain the tank down. We're removing all of this black sand. I have lots of new sand to go in the tank, and you will be able to see what color it is when we add it to the system. But now time to drain it down. I do have a friend with me helping me put all these big boulders and the massive 2-meter piece of wood in the tank as well. So I'm gonna run loads of videos over the screen now and narrate over the top, because obviously it's going to be quite stressful removing all of this water, cleaning the sand, removing the old sand and adding the wood. So let's get to it, and let me know down below what you think. So as you can see, we had, I think it was 5 or 6 bags of this play sand. Now I've never actually used play sand before in my aquariums, and it is a very, very fine sand. Here's a quick shot of the packaging. Now it did say it had already been cleaned, but I know for a fact when using play sand and not aquarium sand, you really need to rinse it thoroughly. So we started to drain the aquarium down, draining all 1,620 litres out of the tank, and then flushing it through all of this play sand to help rinse it off. Now, the play sand definitely wasn't quite as dirty as I expected, but it still was pretty dirty. But obviously, this is one of the negatives to using this, but it was a much cheaper option, essentially, to using actual aquarium sand. Now, here you can see me using a small net to remove all of that black substrate out of the tank. Now, I wanted to remove the black substrate because the black substrate and the black background really helped the goldfish colours to pop that were previously in the tank. However, having the new fish that I'm going to be releasing at the end of the video in the tank, they're not going to be quite as colourful, and the substrate that we're putting in that play sand is more of a natural looking sand, and it is going to help enhance the colours of the fish in a slightly different way, if that makes sense. Obviously all will be revealed with the fish we are putting in at the end of the video, but it should all make sense as the video goes on. So essentially, as we get down to the bottom, we were hoovering all of the last pieces of sand out, and here I'm actually removing the old air stones. Now, Aqua Aeration Limited have actually sent me a massive air bar to go in the tank, and I'm going to be doing a unboxing and sort of review style video on that in the next episode. So you can see now we've got the tank fully cleaned out. We managed to clean the majority of the algae off the back wall. The filter is still a little bit dirty, but I'm not too fussed on that. Once the tank fills up with water, all of that organic waste is going to help kickstart that cycle again. Now I will show you at the end of the video, I did actually keep 90% of the bacteria within the media, 90% of the media, sorry, in a separate tank to keep it alive. You can see I'm running those large air lines. So we've upgraded the air lines now for the new air bar that is coming. And this is going to hopefully provide a nice even flow of air throughout the tank. So the exciting bit now starts to begin. Removed all of the substrate, removed those old airstone system, cleaned the tank, gave it a good nice rinse through, and now the huge piece of bogwood is starting to enter the tank. Now this piece of bogwood is 2 meters long, and I estimated originally it weighed probably about 40 kilos, but I think it's probably pushing that 60 kilo mark in weight. It is absolutely so heavy. And it was a little bit of a struggle to fit it through the brace bars, but as you can see, we did manage to finally get it in position. Now, this wood looks absolutely stunning in the tank, and I'm so glad I managed to find this awesome centerpiece. Now, I do want to elevate the wood, have that wood lifted off the bottom to give a lot of ground surface area for the fish we will be adding. So it was now time to maneuver that piece of wood into position. Now with aquascaping, I'm always aiming for the rule of thirds. Now if you haven't heard of that, essentially you want to create some sort of triangle effect, whether you have the peak in the middle of the tank sloping down on the left and right hand side, or whether you have that peak on the right hand side sloping all the way down to the left. So in this option, or in this scenario, the huge piece of driftwood was really long, and it made sense to prop it up on the right hand side just in the corner where the filter is, sort of hide the filter away a little bit, and then use those really large rocks, which I believe I put in 140 kilos of rocks between, I think it's 6 rocks or 7 rocks. So some of these rocks are weighing 30, 40 kilos each for the absolute biggest ones. And then it was basically propping up that piece of wood, as you can see here, onto those rocks, making sure it was super stable, because I did not want that falling down. If those rocks fall or the wood potentially falls, then it's game over for this system. So propping the end up on that left hand side with a single rock, and then the rest of the rocks are going to achieve a sort of mountainous formation or a rock pile. I wanted it to create a sort of riverbed look and a riverbed feel in this aquarium, as if that piece of wood is maybe a tree trunk or a big tree root emerging out the side of the tank and being surrounded by some stones. Obviously, I didn't want to put too many stones on the floor, and I can always remove some of them. There are quite a few that aren't structural, so they can actually be removed if needed. Next job was adding the sand. You can see it's still pretty dirty, and at the end of the video I am going to flush the tank through one more time. Adding all of that sand, I added 6 bags, and each bag was approximately 15 kilos. So I think we've got about 90-ish kilos of sand, and I'm also going to be adding some fine tan colored gravel to mix in there and really get that nice riverbed effect. Now obviously, someone may say this in the comments already, but obviously when using a fine sand, it is going to be a little bit problematic with cleaning the aquarium, especially when gravel hoovering. But I am hoping the thin layer of sand I've got is approximately 3 centimeters thick. I'm really hoping that the fish I use are going to keep that rotated, keep that stirred up, and mean that I won't have to actually gravel vac it, hopefully. Now here you can see I'm adding the rest of the gravel. So I had a 10 kilo bag and a 2 kilo bag. So we got 12 kilos of this really fine gravel, tan colored gravel, and I'm just placing it around the rocks to sort of get that nice aquascape look. Now I know this is going to get mixed in thoroughly throughout the tank, but the aquascape is all done. You can see now I've got my 120 litre superfish tank, which has all of my media in, and I'm actually ghost feeding this to keep it alive until the new inhabitants arrive. And now it is the next day. As you could see in those last clips, we got the aquascape in. It did take quite a few hours, and I'm really grateful that I had some help from a friend to do the aquascape, because that piece of wood and those rocks are so heavy. Now you will notice, or you would have noticed, that the sand is still a little bit dirty, even despite doing lots of cleaning and lots of washing. And it was actually at pre-rinsed sand, so it should have been clean anyway, but I knew it was going to be pretty dirty. So rinsed it through, as I mentioned, and you will still notice it's quite dirty. Now what I want to do is fill the tank to approximately halfway, give the wood a nice rinse off, give the rocks another rinse off, and the filter a little bit, and then I want to drain that down fully to sort of get rid of any last remaining bits of dirt and debris. Now I know the sand is going to cloud up the tank a little bit to start with, but hopefully the filter fleece will help remove that. Then after that, we have obviously installed our air lines at the back of the tank, which you would have seen. And tomorrow I have a air bar arriving from Aquatic Systems Limited. They have actually built a custom air bar for me for the mega tank. They knew I was upgrading it, changing it, and they thought they would send me a, I think it's about 1.92 meter air bar to go in the back of the aquarium. Probably already mentioned it in this video. So I'm going to be installing that tomorrow, and I'm going to be doing a whole nother video on that. And Haiger were very generous to send me an 800 watt heater to go into the aquarium, as they knew I was going for some different fish, which I will tell you at the end of this video. So I'm going to be doing an unboxing video on that heater that they've sent me before adding it to the tank. So the last step is to fill this tank up about approximately halfway, give it a good rinse, drain it down, and then I can catch you at the end of the video to tell you exactly which fish are going to be entering into the new mega tank. So catch you in a bit. So here you can see I'm just rinsing down the wood and rocks just to remove any final bits of dust and debris, and just to make sure there's nothing sort of on them necessarily, any chemicals or anything like that. Just going to fill the tank up approximately to the 40% mark. Make sure everything's nicely rinsed, and then I can remove all of that water, remove any remaining dust and debris to make sure when I do that final fill that I'm not going to get a super cloudy water. Obviously, I'm going to use a few layers of filter fleece before any fish enter into the tank to make sure the water is nice and clean, nice and polished, and ready for the new inhabitants. Now, obviously, I have a little bit of algae build-up and a little bit of dirt and debris, but this is obviously going to help cycle it, especially when I add the mature media back to the tank just before the fish arrive. And now the tank is draining again, draining all of that cloudy water out. Now I do know when I come back to refilling this tank all the way to the top, it is definitely going to be cloudy, but I'm going to use plenty of filter fleece to remove all this cloudy water that's come from the sand out of the aquarium. Now I assume it's going to stay cloudy for a couple of weeks until I can remove all of that, especially with the fish that I'm going to be putting into it, as they're probably going to kick that sand up. Now obviously this is one of the negatives to not using aquarium sand. Now the play sand that I actually used for this was, I think it was like 6 times cheaper than the equivalent of buying aquarium sand. So I did save quite a bit of money doing it, but obviously you get that added cloudiness. And yes, it is definitely safe for the fish. There's no like chemicals or anything like that in it. But obviously I did give it a good rinse, giving it another rinse now, and then the tank is going to be filled. But I thought I would bring it to the end of the video today, because you don't want to watch this drain for the next hour or so. Now, finally, it comes to what fish I'm going to be adding to this aquarium. Now, for those of you who guessed down in the comment section or have been guessing, I did leave a little nugget of information saying these are fish that I have kept before and some that I really miss. And those are the stingrays and arowana. Yes, that is right. Stingrays and arowana are going to be going into this aquarium. And I have a delivery coming next week that I'm super excited about. So we have, I'm not going to say how many, but there are some stingrays and a super arowana coming to this aquarium. I'm obviously going to add a few other bits and pieces here and there, but that is going to be the initial stocking. Now, if you do have any questions on this video or any questions about the aquarium, the aquascape, anything like that, leave those down below. If you've got any suggestions of additional fish to add to the aquarium, then please let me know down below. But that's it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. Remember to keep those water changes up and happy fish keeping.